Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur. I am your co-host, Jessica Myers.
And it's your co-host, Errol J. Allen.
It is here where we shine the light on the blind side of entrepreneurship. How you feeling today?
Blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
I'm even more excited. We just had a power-packed weekend and with Empower Success Fest. And when I tell you it was amazing for a lot of the people that came out, a lot of entrepreneurs that were involved, including our guest today, Miss Bobbi, the branding lady. How you feeling?
I'm amazing. Hello, guys. Thank you for having me.
When I tell you the light that was in the room, and you helped to do this for a lot of your clients, can you give a little bit more background of who you are and where you are right now with the branding lady?
Sure. I have the business, the branding lady. It's based out of, we're in Atlanta. I'm in North Atlanta, so I'm out of Gwinnett. The company.
Not Atlanta. I was just kidding.
Girl,
I was only kidding.
to be debated, okay? But anyway, so I realized with my company, it's I have created a machine for small businesses. I focused on small businesses, and I do really well with small businesses because just because you're good at your business doesn't mean that you know the digital world. But you need to know the digital world. Mm-hmm. And whether it's your automation with your CRMs, to your social media management, to your website, to, any type of customer relations, all of that needs to be branded properly. And the problem with a lot of small businesses is that they just don't know how to implement it or design it. So that's basically what I do for them is I'll take anybody from like a plumber or, cleaning companies, realtors, even public figures, but independent sources. Usually they're small to medium and they want to expand, but they're kind of chasing their tail because there's so many different tools out there, but they don't know what to use. They don't know how to use it. They feel like they're wasting a lot of money over here. So I end up saving people a lot of money because of what I do. And I'm able to identify like what is your strength, what is your brand power, and then kind of like focus on that and then, expand it to everyone digitally.
So what does that look like working with you? Like, how is it that you, because we're both entrepreneurs, like, is it that you take us through a process or what does that look like for you?
So basically it's as simple as I find out who you are. I say, okay, you want to work with the branding lady. I ask you for everywhere you're located online. And most people don't even know some of the places they're located online. So I do a Google search and I do research behind their brand digitally. Like if I didn't know anything about their business, I go and dig. And then what I find is maybe one page, like one of their pages looks pretty good, but then the others are like, who is this? Is this connected to this? Is this connected to this? Do you have only followers over here? Are you not, do you not have a website? How do people get in touch with you? Like all these different areas that are important to a client getting your business, going after utilizing your company. And, so that's the first step is kind of my own, my team and everybody kind of researches and looks and identifies like the strengths already online. Or some people say, I don't have anything. And we start from zero. But so that's the first thing I do. And then after that, I design like a custom proposal for the business to here is where I see that you, even if it's just someone who has a lot of word of mouth but no digital presence, like we figure that out through communication. But the first thing is what you have online. So then I identify, okay, you need social media management. You need a whole new website. You need some type of, CRM system to help boost, keeping your clients, communicating with you and your employees and things like that. So depending on what each individual company needs is how we identify how we can help them. And then I call it like painting a picture. Like I truly am an artist and I come from a very creative background. So I don't look at the digital world like coding. I don't look at it like zeros and ones. I look at it like colors and impact and feeling. So when I'm looking at a business, I'm really like, okay, the font you're using is off. You know, the color scheme is off for what you're trying to promote. It just depends, but a lot of businesses, just little tweaks here and there can brighten them up. And my goal at the end of it is to make you in your industry look like the corporate partners, like the different people out there that like, okay, there's your competitor and they might be bigger. They might have a bigger bank than you. They might be able to market to the masses more than you, but at least at the very least, you can look like them.
Yeah.
You can present like them.
Yeah.
And that way, if you're better than them, you will grow. And your word of mouth will be more powerful than theirs. And now you look the part.
Yeah.
So that's basically it.
So let's take it back to humble beginnings. How did that look like for you before the market and be branding lady, being the woman behind the curtain or the machine, as you put it?
The machine. Oh, God. So I was born and raised in a small island in Rhode Island. Yes, there are islands in Rhode Island called Newport, Rhode Island. My dad was a musician and a DJ. My uncle, I lived in an Italian household. So it was like my grandmother and my uncles and my brothers and me. And my uncle owned a recording studio in the basement of our house. My dad being a musician, my uncle always recording. I mean, this is like late 80s, early 90s. And my uncle's recording like hip hop artists and stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like you can, the tools that are used back then when you were just learning how to, like MIDI was like, you know, you press a key and now you're hearing voices. So for me, I was fascinated by the music and the ability to create. Mm-hmm. And I've always been like that. I had a little bit of a difficult road growing up because being raised by my dad, and I was the only girl for a while, you got to be a little tough. And he was definitely like the type of guy that was like, you're never going to be somebody's housewife. You're always going to use your brain because you have one and you're smart. And then he ended up, going to roll through this, but he ended up going to prison when I was 15. And then I ended up having to live and move from up north to down south with my mother, who I'd never really lived with, but it was my option. Mm-hmm. So that was a culture shock. But I'm happy it happened to me because it was like you grow up in this like magical world of music on an island. Like it really was beautiful and amazing. And you then go to the South where, and for me, I was always around like hip hop artists and things like that when I was young. So it was that music was comfortable to me. But I moved to the South and I'm like, hold on. This is 20 years ago. Yes. I don't know where I'm supposed to sit. I don't know what table I'm supposed to sit at because the South was very segregated even then. And I'm like, this is weird to me because my upbringing was not like that. It was about creative people. And actually, prior to my dad going to prison, and not the reason he went, but he actually opened one of the first like computer networking schools. So he was in the tech, well, you know.
So he was advanced because that's advanced. You talking about tech in the 90s.
Girl, I'm talking like internet blew in 96. My dad had a computer networking school in 97.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And he was ready for what?
Yeah. So it's like you think about, that was like innovative as hell. But it was funny because how I am today is a lot of who he was. Like he was very creative. He was a musician, but he was also like a computer nerd, and he loved like what the computer could do. He would build them and everything. So seeing that, and then when he went to prison, I moved to the South. It was hard, but I still followed. The only thing I could at that point, because I was so lost, was music. And so I had few friends in the South, but I found my way, and I ended up going to a school called Full Sail University. A lot of people know about Full Sail because I swore I was supposed to be an engineer. This was what I was going to do with my life.
Join the club.
There we go. So I thought I was going to be an engineer. I knew it. I knew the business. I knew music. I knew everything. So I was like, man, I'm totally going to do this. And realized that having an uncle who owned a recording studio, you don't have to go to Full Sail. But obviously the network and the growth of it was that Full Sail was one of the schools that didn't just teach you audio engineering. It taught you media arts, but media arts on $1 million level for a 17, 18-year-old kid is like my eyes were opened.
Yeah.
And I remember in the class in media arts, them saying, good advertising, good marketing is just when you make people pay attention. Doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have anything to do with what you're selling.
Yeah.
It's just that you made people look at the brand. You made them look at the product. And that stuck with me throughout my life because it just kept making sense. Even now when you see all the gimmicks and things that people use just to make you pay attention to their brand. So then I went to Full Sail. There's a journey after that brought me after Full Sail. My dad ended up passing away. I end up saying, okay, I don't want to go back to Rhode Island and just be from this small town.
Did you get to see him again?
For a short, I watched him go. Like he passed from liver cancer, and that is so as I was graduating from Full Sail, they found out and they basically said, you have 2 months to live. I'm still in Florida. He's in Rhode Island. And so needless to say, the last few months of my college experience were extreme depression. Now I don't even know what to do with my life. My dad, who is like literally the force behind me, was going to be gone. Yeah. And I ended up going home after I graduated, and I watched him slowly get taken by cancer. And I always say it's the best and the worst thing that happened to me because it makes you realize, like, life is not promised. Everybody lives these days like, oh, we have tomorrow. We don't. I watched it happen. I thought this man was the strongest person in the world, that the wedding, daddy's girl and all that, not there, didn't happen. The supporter of everything. So watching him pass was like the realest thing that ever happened to me. And I needed it to happen to me because it put a fire in me that is still not ever going to die. And so after that, I said, I'm gonna live this music dream for him, right? That's where I was at. So I shipped myself over to Hollywood. I had
shipped myself. Did you pack it in a box and you was like, I'm going?
Girl, I packed my car up and I just went.
Did you drive?
I shipped my car.
Okay.
I saved up a little bit just working here and there when I was up there, and I was able to ship my car. I flew out there. I had a cousin that lived in Burbank, but I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I had the skills and I was going to the biggest, opportunity zone, or one of them. So I went there and I ended up having some really cool things happen. I worked in the Hollywood Hills with a guy named Tony De Niro, who you're going to hear a lot because of the Diddy situation. Like, he's connected into, they work together a lot. So I was like, whoa, I was very close to that. Very close. So
not even knowing.
Yeah.
Dodged the bullet.
Yeah. I said that the other day. So I was in the hills doing engineering, and I was the only girl. There was no girl sitting in the chair I was sitting in 20 years ago. So it was always like, are you sure you can do it? And I was like, I wasn't really sure, but I was, because no man was going to tell me that I wasn't going to do just as good as him, because I'm a girl and the way, my mindset was. So I owned those sessions and I did a really good job. I went to San Diego after that. I worked with Danny Way, who is Plan B. Like, he's big time skater. Jumped the Great Wall of China with a skateboard. Like, he's that kind of skater, X Games, like, leader. Everyone who knows skaters knows that. And he was building a recording studio in his skate park, and I just so happened to be a part of that. So this was all young stuff, but it just showed me that in my life, it's like what you do with it.
Yeah. Like,
just do it. Don't be afraid to do it. Just do it. And then after that, I went to Vegas for a while, promoted the nightclubs. That whole scene was crazy. We could have a whole podcast, but after dark.
Stories. That's the after dark stories.
Girl.
That's the AT show after dark.
Listen.
We're going to have to get that going.
Like, people say, you should write a book from, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Goodness. I can only imagine Vegas stories. They say what happens in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas.
Unless you're me.
Uh-oh.
And then a lot of things that people just, people go out there, they hang out in Vegas and it's like, oh, party. But like when you're there every day, like, you know who everyone is. Like, you know the dark side of it. You know who's the danger or the, you know, the hustle of it. Or like, you know, I mean, I was making so much money putting people in limos to go to a strip club. Strip clubs are paying like $150 per person if they came in your limo. Mm-hmm. Man, I had like 20 limos in my phone. Like, I got another group. And I was the only girl then doing that, because most girls that would do that on the strip, like, they weren't in my position. They were either strippers or women of the night.
Yeah.
So wait, you had clubs came to you and said, yo, give as many people you fit in this limo, we're going to give you 150 per.
Yeah, they were paying out. This was before Uber existed.
Makes sense.
It's marketing. It's street marketing.
Yeah.
It's literally, and one of the things I love about your story is, and you continue to unfold, is making a way out of no way. And like, that's what, you know, I'm hoping people extract, is like, how do you start from zero and build it up every time? Through consistency, through network, through getting out there, being in creative. You went back, you got the education, and that's what you leveraged to get you now into these doors.
Exactly. And you just don't, you're not scared. If you did it one time, you can do it a million times more. And with the limos, it was a real hustle out there. And I was actually in a very, I didn't know what to do, but I needed to start really making money, because working in a studio, like, you're not getting rich if you're an engineer. That's just the bottom line. Unless you're part of somebody's like camp, which I wasn't. I was like 23 years old. You're not making millions. So I wanted to make more money, and I found out, like, oh wait, I could just put people in these limos. So what happened was the strip clubs were basically, if you were a promoter and you sent people to their club, they had a deal. So whoever, we would find out who was the strip club paying out the most. And it would be like, there's Spearmint Rhino, there's Sapphires, there's, there was Strokers is out there. There's like a whole bunch of names. But depending on who paid out, it might be the most unknown strip club. I don't care. I would be on that strip like, did you know this no-name strip club is the best strip club in Vegas, just because they were going to pay like $200 a head, and I don't care where they go. And these people are all there just to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So you're the liaison. You get them a limo. You're like, I got you. But they don't realize that you're sending them to like maybe the no-name strip club, because you about to get paid. So you learned every night like how to do it and which ones. And then people used to say, well, weren't you worried about the limo drivers like taking off with? Because a lot of times you would do like a deal with the limos. You'd pay them out. No, because the first time one of the limo drivers doesn't pay you what you know you were supposed to make, you've got like 50 more on your list. And I was at that time the only woman that I knew on the strip that was doing that hustle. Because it was all guys.
So it's like wholesaling.
Yeah.
It's like wholesaling.
It sounds like it.
You know, because we got our start in real estate wholesaling. And one of the things I say is, you can do it here, you can do it anywhere. And that's one of the things you proved, that it's like marketing, ground roots marketing, that you were helping them amplify their voices. And instead of like the ads on YouTube, you were the ad in real person.
I was literally the walking ad. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was perfect because I was a woman. And it ended up becoming like, it was like my power.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, she's the one who brings the party.
Exactly. It's like, oh, here's my number. Here, I had limo drivers picking me up from my house. Are you going to go to work tonight? Like, well, I was not planning on it today, but okay. Like, yeah, it would be people like these limo drivers wanting me to be out there because they know I'd get them their money. And I would as well get money.
So how did you translate that into, you know, some of the things that, because you had to go through your own journey first, to then start helping other people build their same journey.
So, and that's why it's so important in the story that I gave you, like the information. It's so important because I've seen the top of Hollywood Hills. I've seen inside some of the richest people's like business models and how they network and how they dress. And then Las Vegas, I mean, that's the painted picture of the world, right? I grew up throwing myself into these places where that's real. Like, you see the systems, but if you're a small, you know, startup, beauty company or, any level of entrepreneur. But if you've really only lived in your small town or this place or whatever, with the internet now, but you still don't understand that there's these brands. Like I always say this to people, pay attention to the simplicity. Like a lot of people, when they're doing like logos or artwork, they're thinking, the more I can just make this. And it's like, no, look at Amazon's truck. Look at how I've got a lot of like construction companies that sign on because they're clueless when it comes to this, but why not? They should sparkle too.
Yeah.
So like I have one company that's a home inspection company, and in the beginning it looked like, I would say like Bob the handyman type, company. And now it reflects like an HGTV inspection company. You don't know that it was literally just a few tools that were used to create that vision, but that's how it helps. It's knowing what is like, okay, these are the millionaires of the millionaires. These are the biggest businesses around that I just grew up being involved in, and seeing how they work and seeing how the pictures are painted, seeing how menus were designed, seeing the foods, all these things. So you take all that and then you take it and you help the little guy. Because why doesn't the small guy get to be as big as those guys? And now they have more opportunity than ever to stand in the same line with these other companies.
Yeah.
Like the small business is booming. In 2021, obviously after COVID, there was 5.4 million new businesses, like new small businesses that were started. Obviously, a lot of people during COVID realized, well, I don't know if I can count on a corporation anymore, so let me figure out what I'm good at. And actually, in 2023, there was 5.5 million. So you're talking like the growth of small business mindset is here.
Yeah.
And now it's just, there's so many tools that say, oh, I can help you with this small business. Like you've got Canvas and you've got, your Square websites and you've got different things. But half these people, this is not what they do. Their specialty is what they specialize in.
Yeah.
And that's not, it's like they shouldn't be behind because of that. Actually, I love when they're great and like excellent at what they do because I'm excellent at what I do. So that's how I take all that history and I bring it to today because it's like, you can look like them.
Yeah.
We can paint a picture for you. So, yeah.
So what would you say would be like some impactful works or literatures that like help shape your mindset to mold you to be the person you are today?
Oh, boy. I will say one book that I really took to, and I can't quote the author. I'm actually terrible with
books and their titles.
I'm terrible with everything in titles. I know a lot, but it's like, to actually then give it to you. But the book's title is called Contagious.
Contagious.
Okay. And it's not about a virus.
Outbreak.
Exactly. It actually explains it's kind of like a study to why things go viral.
Oh.
It's extremely like the information in it is profound because it talks about virality, how virality is somewhat, it's just an accidental, thing that can kind of happen. And it's just like a hit record, in music, like there are things that kind of can get it there. You have a better shot at it going viral, but it's still like there's still that like lottery factor of it where it's like random still, even though you can prepare yourself for success by, doing certain things to polish whatever it is. But Contagious talks about like how there was a New York restaurant that was doing really bad selling cheesesteaks or whatever. And then it talked about how they ended up making a like filet mignon cheesecake or cheesesteak for $100 a cheesesteak. And it was so outrageous, but it became a viral hit because it was like, so now everybody's going to this cheesesteak place for the $100 cheesesteak. And it talked about a bar that was not really doing well, and they actually kind of implemented the speakeasy vibe where you had to go to the phone booth and have a password. And it talked about these little tricks that people did to create this buzz about them.
Create the moment.
Yeah. And so I would say that out of everything that I ever took in as far as information, that was like mind blowing, because it just, there was, you know, the reality when it talked about, you know, things that do catch, and how it's just, it is at random. There isn't like a science to going viral. But there are ways to just be so random or so different that it can help you, you know, create that buzz and then create the momentum. So it was a really good book that I read. And
I love that. I can see how that can apply to clients. Like, did you amplify after reading that? Could you tell like immediate results from reading that?
Yeah, I just always have been the type of person to think out of the box, right? Like everybody has this formatted, you know, way of doing things. And I think that we're learning with the, you know, the internet's great. And what we're learning with social media is that actually outside of the box is a better place to be. You have more of a chance to make an impact on businesses because of your just, you know, your uniqueness.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say that's what I took from it. But I always believed that. I always believed that it's better to be outside than like everybody else. And growing up and watching, you know, I was a part of a group for music where one of the artists ended up going #1 on the billboards. His name was Omi. Shout out to Omi. And it was like watching the dominoes fall. It was like you knew it was a good record, and then it just started. The virality happened, and I've never seen a wave like that happen firsthand, like numbers and everything. But it was because, you know, he felt like it was just like a hit record. So for me, that's how I look at every business. It's like just because like you look at it and you're like, I have ABC product. That doesn't mean that you don't have like a personality with your product that you're not even capitalizing on, or like auxiliary services that, you know, I've implemented line items that have created tens of thousands of dollars a year in revenue because it was like something they didn't see, that it was like an add-on. Add-ons are amazing. And people like to feel like their package, what they're paying for is worth paying for. But sometimes it's really how you're packaging it, how you're describing it. Like, I have a coaching client that is, she does business coaching, and she's creating her packages. And it's like, well, everybody kind of looks at it sometimes such as like, I charge this for this, I charge this for this, and I charge this for this. Well, what else can you do though? Right? Are there other areas you're not accessing that you can add to that package and then add dollar amounts to that package? And you can do it by creating more value. But sometimes a lot of the businesses just don't see it because they're looking at it like a lot of people do. I have these menu items and that is it. And that's why even with the branding lady, I would say something that we do that people don't do is, okay, we might do your social media management, but you get consulting hours in that. So we're not just charging you for these posts a week, this content, these stories, this. We're actually including added benefit and added value, because you can get on the phone with us at any time and say, my website just went down and I don't know why. I don't know how to set this up. I don't know my CRM's not automating properly to the right leads. There's so many technical issues in the digital world that we live in that people don't even know the answer to. And why should you pay more and more and more to these other companies? You end up paying like 10 different companies for, if you have the right company, they can handle it all for you. Yeah. So all of our packages contain free consulting hours because, yes, you can get us on the phone, and yes, we will fix that problem for you.
Yeah. So what does your operations look like today? Because obviously there's, a handful of people who do services like this, but what does your team specifically look like?
Well, we do, I would say our biggest thing that we do is the top 3 items are, we do the web design. That's a big one just on the fact of like we're reasonably priced for small businesses, and it usually looks more corporate based, and we're able to like create automations for people. Like what happens with even websites is people are paying for these tools and they're not using everything that's in them because they don't know how. So setting up and making sure their automations are working and everything, and making sure that they're maximizing whatever products online they're paying for. So that's one. The social media management is big, but it, like I said, with that, it's more like it's more based on the branding of it. Like it's not like you tell me, it's like we actually work together, because I have with all my clients, it's about, you know, picking like what's your brand color palette, you know, what are the fonts, like there's really specific things to make it work. And then we have just a monthly consulting package where it's an overall thing, because we can build out CRMs for people. So like different companies, like a cleaning company that I uses one CRM, whereas the radon mitigation company over here uses another CRM. There's lots of CRMs that they're using, and again, not maximizing what's being able to be used within those programs. So anything operating a business, and then the way that it comes out to the public. So how you're dealing with, you know, your client relationships and stuff.
So what's the difference between branding and marketing? Because I often hear those interchanged.
And I love that you said that. My favorite thing. So yes, marketing is a part of branding, but branding is way more than just marketing. And I think that that's like the hardest thing when you're talking about, like I say, I'm the branding lady. They're like, oh, you do marketing? Well, yes. But effective marketing, like, would you rather spend, let's say you spend $1,000 a month on your marketing. If you have your branding up to speed, that $1,000 in marketing goes further. So if like the branding is the overall personality of a business, it's everything from obviously like your imagery, so your logo, your content, but even as intricate as what is the process when a client or customer contacts your business? How does that work? Do you have taglines that every time you're responding to them or speaking to them that you are consistently inputting into your automations? Are you, is everything from your LinkedIn to your website to anything across the board, if you have YouTube, whatever, does it all have a common vision? Is it all consistent in color, in font, in all, like, so having all of that would be having a strong brand personality. You take a strong brand personality and you put it through the machine of marketing, and your $1,000 is going to go 10 times, 50 times further than the person who is all over the place, has no consistency, is throwing money, doesn't know their demographic, that's a big one, hasn't figured out who are you even targeting, and do you know them well enough to present your brand properly? So it's like, okay, if your target market are these people, where do they like to eat? What do they like to do? And so then you're going to be able to know, where should I be putting my marketing dollars, but also how do I attract them? What is attractive to them? Because I promise you, people that are going to the golf store and, you know, looking at their maybe like super golfers compared to somebody that's going to like a basketball store, these are two separate areas that you're going to target these people differently to get into their minds. So it's just about knowing who your client is, but also, and most importantly, knowing who your business is. Who are you? Like, I can say, I'm Bobbi, I'm this. I could tell you a long story about all the things, and I can describe who Bobbi is. Every business should be doing that for themselves. Who am I? And who am I trying to attract? And then whoever I'm trying to attract, what does that even, like, how do I do that? What clothes do I wear? Right? Like, let's break it down. What clothes do I wear? Would be like your colors.
Yeah.
You know, what
style, what flair.
Yeah, exactly.
What mode.
Exactly.
What mood.
So am I doing things like, what are my fonts look like? Am I somebody that's putting out quotes, or am I putting out more promotions, or am I, do I have like, you know, I have people who are influencers and stuff, and it's like, so that would be more like interactive type media versus, we specialize in. And all of that depends on where you fit in the industry you're in. But then it's like identifying that for yourself and then putting it out the right way because you want to be the most attractive.
But what if you bleed into multiple industries? Because I started out in media, so that's my baby, and I'm a journalist at heart. But then I went in as an entrepreneur, and telling my story through entrepreneurship is what helped to get, a lot of the heat wave and like you said, the virality of what we've been able to do. But I realized that what I do applied to anything can create,
So you are the brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then anything that you do should kind of like, if you are like the energy source,
mm-hmm.
then feed that into everything that you do. Keep that. It's like keeping your identity connected to everything because it started with the fact that you are you and you were able to turn this into this and this into this and this into this. And it doesn't matter if you have 8 different things. Let it always connect to that main space that you are you, because it's like people then what you've realized with the businesses you've created is that people buy into you. And so that's power. And then you take, okay, who am I and why? So why would they buy into me?
Okay.
Well, there's so many reasons,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And then all those reasons, let it bleed into all the businesses that you touch.
Okay. I love how you put that. Because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs you come across too, they wear many hats and they're like, and they can get the perception of, are we all over the place?
Right.
That's one of the things that I've heard.
And you don't have to because it's just like, there's let them identify the brand because it's you, but also let you design it. Like you are the designer. It's coming from your spirit. It's coming from your space. So yeah, you might have completely different industries. Like honestly, my next thing I'm making a dating app.
Oh, I love it. No, I can see this.
It's
oh my
happening.
gosh. I love it.
So
I love
that's
it.
coming. The developer's working on it right now in India.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Trademarked it, everything. We're ready to go.
Oh, goodness.
But it still has pieces of me in it. Even though I'm designing this whole new brand, it's still got some pieces that if you knew who I was in my brand, you would identify. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like you can connect it subliminally, but it's always gonna, it's got to be you. So like I said, people believe in you. So your gut feeling about like if you create a new logo or you create a new images for your business, whatever it is, if that gut you stay with because you're doing it right.
What inspired you to make the dating app? Oh Lord. I feel like I know the answer,
just
but
opened up. Okay, Atlanta. Let me just say that I was habitually single for a while. I actually met my fiance on the dating app, but before that, it was horrible.
Yes.
It was horrible. Like I was, at that time, I'm a single mother. I'm busy. I'm trying to build. I'm working, networking. Like I don't have time to go out to dinner with everybody that's like, oh, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I always said that the dating apps were kind of like an application process for me. So it was like, let me get you through a few application rounds and see if we even can have a conversation.
Yeah.
But what I kept realizing with all the apps that are out there, and I can talk a little bit about it because like I said, the trademark's already in public. But there was a core problem, and that was the ego of the people looking. It was like you're not really looking. If you're really looking for a partner in your life, so the app is called Dating with Faith, and it actually doesn't discriminate against your faith. So it doesn't matter if you go in there and you're a Muslim, because there will be you're going to just swipe and tell them that you are a Muslim looking for another Muslim, and they are going to just take you to your place. But the coolest thing about it is that it's based on faith. You could be spiritual.
Yeah.
You want to find people who are spiritual. It's just navigating you through the first and I feel the most important question. Do you believe in something more than yourself?
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe it gives people more of a fighting chance to really find the person that they're looking for, because that's been the hardest thing. You just got a lot of people on there for no reason.
Yeah.
people that shouldn't be on there at all.
Yeah.
And like you say, it ties you to core values because that's what it is, spirituality or whatever it is, your belief or spirituality or non, but it ties you into the core values you live by, and that and who you are anywhere is who you are everywhere. So if you have those core values down, you can connect with other people that, okay, maybe we can build something on top of at least our core values being the same.
Exactly. Right? Because it's like you're talking to people you don't even know if they like, I'm an atheist. Okay, well, goodbye. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you don't believe in anything and you don't have some type of rules that you live by, then we probably aren't going to be okay because at least for me, and I know a lot of people who are seriously looking for a partner, they want to have someone that they can like, yes, core values, but also just understand that there's some type of something that moves them.
Yeah.
And it helps with that connection being real and not just being of the digital hookup world, which I feel like Atlanta is so I know so many people that feel me about Atlanta dating apps and all that. So don't worry.
So I feel this is an interesting subject because there's a lot of people out here, and I'm talking, let's ask from the woman perspective. There's a lot of people out, women say, I'm looking for a type of dude, but I can't find him. They're this, they're that. He's gay. He's got this, stuff like that, right? But,
2 of my ex-boyfriends dated each other. But, okay,
wow. That's like,
I wasn't even going back.
But we can.
So continue.
Moving forward. But one thing I heard, it was a piece of advice was, when it comes to finding your dream partner, you want to put a list of things down that you want in that partner and then become the list, right? So
that's true.
So you're a person out here who obviously has things going about for yourself, has some motion. What would you say for people who are looking, specifically women, how would they be able to attract higher quality men? What do they have to do? Who do they have to become? What does that look like?
So I think that most importantly, you can't be concerned with if a person is, because I think a lot of women like it's for the date or something or the fan, I look at it like I know who I am. And I feel like if you know who you are and you know your hard nose, like I'm 40, so maybe not for the 20-year-old women. You're going to take a little bit more time to learn some things about life. But for the older, you got women that are 30 plus, 40 plus that are really trying to find somebody. You know yourself. So you know your hard nose. You also know that there is compromise in finding people and you're not going to get 100%, you, but look at the balance for you. What am I not good at? It's just like when you have a team of people that work with you, like what am I terrible at?
Yeah.
Where's that guy?
Yeah.
Like, am I, like just a specific for me, I'm extremely like my energy, I'm Italian. So like I can turn up. I needed to turn down. The button goes down. It's like, you just figure out like your yin and yang qualities and then know your hard nose because you don't even need to keep talking to a guy if he's already showing you hard nose or a woman. Like if you already see things that like wouldn't work out, don't look past them. There's a lot
Don't try to justify it. Don't be like, well, maybe it'll change. It don't.
It doesn't. Yep.
The commitment just gets deeper. They get more into it.
And it's harder to walk away at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like at least when you're initially having these conversations with people, get to know them. I would be real like, all right, so what do you do? How do you do it? Like, I would ask all the questions. And if somebody felt like I was asking too many questions, well, you don't have to answer them and have a great day.
Yes, exactly.
Because this is my life and I don't want to put my life into the hands of someone that I'm not sure. And that's just the bottom line. So be sure these apps, like it's easy to paint the picture. It's easy to paint a picture and look pretty on the outside, but it's the real core meat inside that you need to figure out and find out if you're steering into like the fire or if this is safe and this is good for you. And you'll know that because if you know yourself, you know what's safe and good for you.
It's the irony because branding, to your point, is all about how you look and appear. And it's like you're creating a gateway to help people look and appear a certain way.
Exactly.
But then like, I want you to be in the core value. So that's interesting, the juxtaposition of everything.
Right. I always say I don't even buy into brands. And they're like, you do branding. Yeah, I don't buy into brands because it's all a facade at the end of the day. Just because I know how to do it doesn't mean that I participated, like put it in my personal bubble. No, I know how to make it look pretty. I know how to make the shiny things shine, but like I still look for like the authenticity in humans.
Yeah. And that's what you help people pull out. I'm sure that's what you work with your clients best.
Yeah.
So what were you about to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, so what does the day in the life look for Bobbi?
Very simply, I have a 12-year-old, so it's whatever, I mean, I'm always up very, very early, 5:30. Just kind of, I like to give myself a few hours before she has to motivate and be in school and stuff. I'm up already, reading, responding. I also give myself time to just, it's like the quiet hour. The first hour usually is just the quiet hour. I don't have to respond to anything yet. I don't have to get on, go. And then she goes and does her thing, and I make sure I'm a mom first, so I make sure that she gets off on her day and knows that I love her. Yeah. And then it's to the business. So then we get on the phone with the team and we start, what do we got to do? What do we have to handle? What do we have coming up? And then executing. It's like execute throughout my entire day until the very end. I like to be extremely exhausted before I go to sleep, because that means that the day was well worth it. Like I lived that day and I worked that day. So it's just, I'm always talking, and I feel like I'm a lot of times putting out fires, but I've been through so much fire that I'm like, what do we got? Yeah. Like I hate when I can't figure something out, because I haven't found anything that I can't figure out. And this is a very, the digital environment is hard. Sometimes people get stuck and there's something going on with their system and there's some back end thing going on. They can't figure out what it is. My team of very intelligent people can't figure out what it is. I'll go in and I'll be like, man, I'm going to figure it out. So that's life. But by the end of the day, after we've handled like our day today with the business, after we've done that, always making sure that my family is good. They're, good food, good connection at the end of the day. It's about like at the end of the day, I like hearing the voices of the people I love and being so tired that I just then pass out and start over again.
I love it. How can people find you?
So the Branding Lady, I made it very easy for all of you.
Which is a brand should.
Yes. Just Google it. But yeah, it's the Branding Lady everywhere. And that's just a note to everyone as I sign off. Make sure it's the same. I don't care if you have to change it. Make sure it's the same. The Branding Lady everywhere. You'll find me.
I love it. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur. She dropped so many gems expressing her story. I love the expansion and how the progression, because one of the things that we talked about, we didn't mention my favorite book, Alchemist. It talks about the journey and how it leads to the treasure within.
Amen.
And you've obviously uncovered a lot of treasures. And if you guys hadn't heard, go back and re-listen to this episode, because she dropped a lot of nice gems on this episode about her story and where she came from and how you can build it for you. So as always, you got it. Let's get it.
Let's go.